We don't have to look far for something to fight for or against. Fights with others, fights during games, fights in politics, fights in religion, fights all over the place, fights on the road. But are we fighting for what matters? Matters inside, for our goals, for our mission, or against something on the outside that often doesn't really matter? So what are we willing to fight for? And what are we willing to let go? Fight the good fight. Let's consider that question.
Welcome to the Educators Among Us podcast, where we share motivational messages and inspiring stories for and about educators. Your host, Scott Barron, is author of the critically acclaimed book, Love 'Em and Lead 'Em, and provides powerful insights and wisdom for those who heed the call to teach, coach, lead, and serve at all levels of education.
This is Scott Barron, and I'm honored to be your host for the Educators Among Us podcast. We love to be a part of the lives of educators as they walk the journey. It's not easy, no matter what season of life you're in or what you do within the setting of an educational institution, whether you're a teacher, a tutor, a staff member, a coach, a board member, an administrator, a guidance counselor, whatever you do, it's hard work. We get to pour into the lives of other people, and there's so many variables that we try to be prepared, and yet school happens and life happens, and we're raising students, and sometimes and parents also, and even some colleagues, and we're all in that teaching world. And we're thankful. We're thankful for your commitment to the work and being there for others, and being willing to fight through all the challenges. Now I use that term fight because sometimes we have to be careful that we fight right. Right? We're fighting the good fight because there's always invitations to get involved in fights that they just don't make sense. They're sometimes a distraction, and sometimes they're a destruction, and sometimes they're just a dysfunctional behavior, and we allow ourselves to get sucked into that, right? But being able to fight is it's an important part of life, because we do face challenges. And I love this quote from John Stuart Mill that says, "A man who has nothing for which he is willing to fight, nothing which is more important than his own personal safety, it's a miserable creature who has no chance of being free unless made and kept so by the exertions of better men than himself." We need something that we're willing to fight for, something that stands up against the test of time, right? But that requires being wise, being discerning about what we're fighting for. Are we in the right fight? Are we in the good fight, right? Because anyone looking for a fight these days, they don't have to look far. There's quick triggers all around, and they abound because people seem willing and ready to fight, especially in the U.S. in an election year. Everybody's is high strung and is ready to kind of go at it, and then there's not a lot of joy in that, right? But there is conflict. Conflicts may be motivated by politics and by religion and by personal insult, by moral outrage, even by some people's their driving habits or their carelessness, right? I mean, conflicts are all over the place. Some fights in school settings for sure, some fights result from sports or games that were originally intended to be fun. And people take it so seriously. One of the things I had to do as an administrator that I liked the least was to have to go and referee people in the stands at a basketball game or a football game, and caution them that their behavior was so unprofessional and embarrassing. Knock it off, right? I mean, these behaviors that sometimes happen, they're just not wise, because why fight a battle and take risks if we really don't gain anything by winning, it doesn't make sense, right? Why take those? I mean, how many people lose their jobs and their careers and their reputations because they got involved in a fight that it just wasn't worth it. Now justifications can always be found. They're everywhere, right? But choosing to fight has material consequences. And so educators especially benefit from the wisdom of knowing how to pick the right fights, to fight the good fight. Plato said, "We are twice armed if we fight with faith." If we fight with faith, with a belief, with a belief in a faith of a higher calling, a faith with a bigger purpose, a faith that knows that in our relationship with our Creator, our relationship with God, that we're doing more than just the job. We're fulfilling a real calling. The most important war, of course, that most of us fight is it's between our own ears, right? It's right here. It's where we struggle to stay true to our beliefs in sustaining our faith, where it becomes real, being on purpose with our goals, staying true to where we want to go, and faithful in our daily habits. That's the biggest battle. That's where those mental battles are endless. They're daily. They're multiple times a day, and they're so crucial. They're so crucial to our short and our long-term success, right? Now, we have good days and we have bad days. Our self-awareness, this is really important. Our self-awareness and self-intelligence gives us the ability to fight the temptation to negotiate with ourselves and yield our goals. Because when we start negotiating with ourselves, when we start saying, I don't really have to do that. I don't have to really be prepared. I don't have to be on time or early. I don't have to do my part. I can just do enough. I don't have to do my exercise. I don't have to get to bed early. I don't have to have my work done. I don't have to meet that deadline. When we start negotiating with ourselves, we've already committed our pathway to mediocrity. And that's not the fight. That's a fight. That's a fight worth fighting. That's a fight worth resisting, right? Because we fight the good fight with faith and fortitude because the mission is worthy of it. Now, I'm talking about our personal mission. And that's an important thing for us to have articulated, to have figured out, right? What's our mission? What's your mission? How do we know that we're doing the right things, that we're going on the right path? I sometimes use this quote, the Chinese proverb that says it, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, right? Because, life is happening to me rather than me happening to life. And so being able to articulate our personal mission, where are you going and why? Right? That's a vital part of being able to know and to fight the good fight, right? It's worthy of our school's mission of being there because we're not just working for the job, we're working for the joy of the work, the joy of the calling, the joy of making a difference, that one letter between the B and the Y, working for the job or working for the joy, right? That's a game changer when it comes to highly effective educators because we have a calling. The educator's calling is also worthy of the effort of fighting the good fight. Everyone who competes in the games, we saw this with the Olympics. We see this even as the fall sports begin to gear up at some of our schools. Everyone who competes in the games trains with strict discipline. They do it for a crown that is perishable, that will go away, that will rust, that will be forgotten. But we do it for a crown that is imperishable. That's 1 Corinthians 9. Verse 25, we do it for a lasting purpose, for something that is eternal, right? That's the calling of an educator. Highly effective educators embrace the hard work. They embrace the hard work because it always comes with the role. It's just part of it. But we love the discipline. We love the discipline of it and the trade-offs that must be made to achieve growth. The trade-offs are always there or do we push ourselves, or do we kind of just do enough? Do we go that extra mile? Do we find ways of solving the problem and making sure that it doesn't happen again? Right? Do we respond versus react? Do we have that growth and that resilience that is the game changer? Of course, it's tempting to see this as a burden, or some would even see it as punishment. But we are not victims. We are not victims. The impact we make in the lives of others is a reward that lifts the spirit and it lightens the load. We are educators. The allure of the easy road is always a temptation. It's always there. It's always drawing that siren song that says, come on over here, take it easy, take it off. But uncompromising discipline is paramount to reaching our own goals for this year, along with those of our team. And we need to be able to articulate clearly, what are our goals? How will we be different? What's in our growth plan? It's a shame that sometimes in education, we actually couch the term coaching as a negative. It's actually used in some circles, in a lot of circles of education. If you're on a coaching plan, it's actually a negative tone. It's a negative message that says, hey, we got to fix you. This is remedial help. This is got you on a plan, right? It's unfortunate because coaching is actually a powerful mechanism to shorten learning curves, to learn better, to learn more effectively. Every athlete at the Olympics had multiple coaches. Most successful business leaders have multiple coaches. In education, we need to buy into the idea that everybody has an individual education plan, an IEP. Imagine that. I mean, why not? Why not have everybody on a growth plan where we're finding ways to grow? We're finding ways to overcome the challenges. We're finding ways to be our best, right? So the challenge ahead, of course, is stay engaged. Stay engaged in the good fight this week, my friend, armed with the faith and disciplines that enable attainment of that eternal reward. It's worth it. Hey, thank you again. Thank you for your perseverance in the work, your perseverance in the faith, your perseverance in believing in people. It's amazing when we ask educators or others to describe educators who changed their lives. They always speak about people who they expected the best of them. They believed in them. They forced them to get outside their comfort zone and discover new abilities and to believe in themselves and to not accept less than. And that's what we need in our lives every day. And that's what we need you, because you make a difference. You make a lasting difference, a difference that goes on for generations. And we're so thankful. We're thankful for you and being willing to fight the good fight. And so the coaching question for you to consider as you go through this week, did I do my best to fight the good fight today? Did I do my best to fight the good fight today? Hey, love him and lead him, my friend. This is Scott.
Thank you for joining us for the Educators Among Us podcast and for your courageous commitment to this noble calling. We get you and the challenges of this work. To stay connected with this community, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and weekly encouragement at educatorsamongus.com.